So here you go. Amazon cuts more jobs after 30,000 layoffs announced over the last 6 months. So this is one of the things I've been trying to warn people about, where you see these big layoffs in the news, right? Microsoft lays off 16,000 people, Oracle lays off 30,000 people, Amazon lays off however many thousand people, Meta is now about to lay off another 8,000 people, right? You see those big numbers out there, and it's very easy to think that's the only thing going on. One of the big issues, though, when we start looking at layoffs and start looking at the economy, is that there are different rules and regulations that are pertinent to these different companies. And so based off of how many people these companies are laying off, they may or may not have to publicly report it, right? So there's something called the WARN Act. I do believe if a company lays off like 50 people at a time, they have to give notice and they have to do all of this different stuff. Here's the issue. What if they just lay off 49 people and they do that multiple times? Right? So they're only laying off 49 people. That doesn't seem too bad, right? Hey, this is a company with 100,000 white collar workers. They're just laying off 49 people. That is normal. But they lay off 49 people here, and they lay off 49 people here, and they lay off 49 people here, and they lay off 49 people here. And suddenly, 49 times, 30 or so gets to be about 1,500. Times 40 gets to be about 2,000, right? You lay off 49 people enough times, and then you start to get to thousands and thousands of people that have been laid off. And that's going to be one of the things to keep in mind as we go forward, especially with the big technology companies and other companies, is as these companies right size, you are going to see the massive layoffs, but it may be very easy to just not simply recognize all of the smaller layoffs that they're also doing. And this is a thing that you should be, concerned about. We take a look at this. Amazon has announced another round of job cuts, this time affecting its seller partner services division after cutting around 30,000 jobs in the last 6 months. The division works closely with millions of third-party merchants on onboarding, logistics, and account support. According to a report by Business Insider, a company spokesperson confirmed that the layoffs involve a small number, quote, of employees. This move of the company, roughly 30,000 layoffs across waves in October and January, as well as smaller cuts in the robotics division in March. Quote, we regularly review our organization to ensure we're best set up to deliver on our goals, a spokesperson said. Quote, following a recent review, we've made the difficult decision to eliminate a relatively small number of roles in our selling partner service team. We don't take the decisions like this lightly, and we're committed to supporting affected employees with transitional healthcare, a separation payment, and outsourced job placement services. The latest round of job cuts at Amazon underscores how the e-commerce major is working on to reshape its sprawling retail organization under the new CEO, who has spent the past 2 years emphasizing efficiency and cost discipline. While earlier layoffs were framed as a response to the pandemic era overexpansion, the continued reductions suggest Amazon is still fine-tuning headcount across multiple business organizations. And so basically what they're going through is they're cutting here, they're cutting here, they're cutting here. Onesie, twosie, threesie, foursies ends up being thousandsies. The other thing to be thinking about with this too is when you look at these small cuts, also remember the people that they're not hiring. So that's a big thing that I brought up, like with Meta. Is that they're laying off 8,000 people, but not only are they laying off 8,000 people, but they're also closing 6,000 open roles. So there were 6,000 open positions that they were trying to fill, and then they just close those positions. So not only are the 8,000 jobs gone, but 6,000 people that might have been hired for the company, also those positions have been eliminated. So as these companies go through and they start really fine-tuning the layoffs and the firing and all that kind of thing, the other thing to be thinking about is they're also going to be cutting out open positions that they realize that they don't really need. And so this will be something interesting to follow going into the future. So, one of those things to take a look at. It's not whether you think the economy is bad, It's whether you realize how bad the economy is. It is just not doing good things. And it's weird, though. Like I listen to some of these pundits, for the economy. And they talk about how it really is good. What you have to understand is you just got to look past the layoffs. You got to look past the layoffs. You got to look past the unaffordable housing. You got to look past the unaffordable education. You have to look past the fact that you can't buy a steak anymore. Holy crap, beef has gotten expensive. I am so happy right now. My wife is a vegan. Right now, my wife being a vegan is saving us so much money. Have you seen the price of steak? Holy bejesus. Anyways, but don't worry. The economy is doing good. So anyways, there we go. Amazon is doing a little bit more pruning, and I would argue most of these other big tech companies are going to be doing more pruning too, and I'll be curious to see what the numbers really start looking like at the end of the day. My argument is most of these layoffs that we've seen so far are not really about AI. They're about right sizing, but they're about right sizing into a good economy. But we're not in a good economy. So after all these thousands of employees have been eliminated, they're going to have the right number of employees for a good economy, which basically means that they got to keep eliminating employees to get down to right sizing for a bad economy. And then on top of that, there are going to be efficiency gains, right? Whether you talk about AI or automated systems, I argue for automated systems. I do believe there's going to be more and more implementations of automated systems. So they're going to keep pruning down for the bad economy that they're actually in. And they're going to keep pruning down below that as systems become ever more efficient and effective at doing people's jobs, which means these job losses in the tech world are going to go on for a long time. And so the thing that you have to be thinking about, like if you're new and getting in the tech world, is why are you here? Like I was talking to my wife about that the other day, and I was talking about all these people, again, jobs. And she was like, Eli, why are you so mean about that, right? You tell people, right, if you're going to have a tech business or whatever, you've got to make money. So these people come to you and they won't shut up about jobs, but isn't that what you tell them? And the thing is that I try to explain to people is that, but you have to want to work in this field, right? I've discussed that before about the whole GitHub disaster, like the whole idiocy, right? So I have I used to do these mentorship talks with people. I just gave up because it's exhausting. And I'd have people, and I'd be like, and they'd want to be coders or whatever. So they had gone through a boot camp or college or whatever else. And they wouldn't have a job for however long. And so I talked to them. I'd be like, well, when was the last time you published anything to GitHub? Like a year and a half since I published anything to GitHub. Say, okay, well, maybe you don't realize how valuable GitHub is. So when was the last time you built a project on your own? Right, I talk about all these little projects that I'm doing here, microcontrollers, AI, whatever else. When was the last time you sat down and you actually built something, anything at all? Year and a half. I'm like, what? Why should I do technology work if I'm not getting paid? And that's a problem. That's what I told my wife. I'm like, look, if you're doing little projects, if you're doing your own little technology projects, but you're not publishing the code to GitHub, see, I can work with you on that. It's like, oh, look, you're doing those projects? Well, hey, look, GitHub is a good repository for code anyway, and it's basically a social media site for coders and technology professionals. I'm telling you, recruiters go to GitHub to see what you're doing. So you need to put your code onto GitHub, and that's going to help you out. Or maybe you're already putting some stuff to GitHub. But how often are you uploading to GitHub? Are you uploading to GitHub once a month? Right? Are you waiting until all your code is done and uploading it basically as a big dump? Or are you modifying things every couple of days? Right? That's it. Like what is the, how often do you upload to GitHub? Right? That's something that we can discuss. Or like what projects are you working on? Oh, hey, that's great. You saw me working on those Pico microcontrollers. So you've done 20 Pico microcontroller projects. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's cool. I love the Pico. But look, if you're trying to get a job, maybe work on something that's not the fucking Pico. Maybe work on some vector database stuff. Maybe work on some, multi-layer LLM, create some agents, that type of thing, right? You're doing the work, you're publishing the work, but the work that you're doing isn't that valuable. Right? That's the stuff I can work with people. The problem that I run into with so many people that are trying to get in the tech world nowadays is that they don't, my phrase is, they want our job. They don't want our work. They don't want to do what it is we do to get paid. They just want the paycheck. And so the problem is for those folks, right, they come out of comp sci degree, they come out of the boot camp or whatever else. They don't care about technology. They're not particularly good at technology. It doesn't scratch a particular itch. And so I think going into this job market is going to be an absolute misery because we never needed these people. We never fucking needed these type of people. They were always a misery, right? You go into the tech environment and you have people talking about everything in the world other than actual technology. I've talked about this before, going to tech events lately. Tech events of the past 5 years suck. Right, it used to be, right? Again, doing this for 30 years, 25 years of my career. You go to a tech event, you're sitting down, there's quite, oh, is the inserts faster, the selects faster? How do you do replication, right? Oh, how reliable is NoSQL? Look, I heard NoSQL, drop stuff. How reliable is that particular thing? Why did you use that particular database engine? Why did you go with that particular company? Why did you do whatever else, right? 25 years of my career, you would go to technology events, and that's the kind of crap that you would talk about, right? Like, you would both be technology professionals, so sometimes you did have to go to lowest common denominator, right? One person is an AI coder, the other person is a network engineer. And so you figure out something that you can actually talk about. But you can actually talk about this on an engineering, on a technical level. The thing that I've seen over the past 5 years, man, I go to these tech events, and it's magical thinking out of the people that say they're technology professionals. These are supposed to be technology professionals, and when I ask them, why is that your opinion? So much of the time, it just simply because that's what I like, right? Especially when we get to this old AI thing. You don't know what it's like to go to tech events and talk with people about artificial intelligence. These are supposed to be technology professionals. Motherfucker! They have more magical effing thinking than a secretary had back in 2000 about how this shit works. Like, oh, why would you design the architecture like that? What? And so I think it's going to be bad for them. I think that's the thing that you have to be thinking about when you go into this field. Is this what you actually want to do? At the end of the day, right? When you go out and deliver a pizza, when your first job is delivering a pizza, because that's what you're going to get, do you come home at the end of the day, spin up, load up VS Code, and build something? Do you go to hackathons? Do you talk with people or whatever, figure things out? Do you go to the meetups or whatever else, even if your job is pizza delivery right now? Or do you just cry about how the world is mean or whatever else? I think that's the thing you have to think about. I had a viewer said he's halfway through a comp sci program. I mean, the real question, do you want to be a computer scientist? Do you want to be a coder? Do you want to be a technology professional? Do you want to be a technology professional, or do you want a paycheck of a technology professional? That is not the same thing. So anyways, we need technology professionals. We need technology professionals. We just might not need you. Anywho, it's gonna get so bad, but it's gonna get so good. Oh, can you imagine? Again, for anybody that's been around for a while, think about this. Another couple years. We'll call it the Great Cleansing, right? 20 years ago, we had convergence. We had other things like that. They talk about the future of singularity or whatever. Within the next by like 2029, we'll just call this the Great Cleansing of the industry. Gone. Anyways, so what do you think about this? What do you think about the major technology companies? Not only are they doing the massive layoffs of thousands of people at a time, but they're also trimming around the edges. What do you think? What do you think that's going to look like over the next couple of years? Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they are on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. Link is in the doobly-doo. Also, the link to my LinkedIn account is down there. With that, see y'all later.